شرحناها بس قال نعيدها.
نعم اوكي زين. طلاب عندي speech acts. Who can give me some summary about speech acts?
Yes, may I?
Yes, your name?
فردوس حيدر.
فردوس حيدر. Yes, فردوس حيدر.
Speech act is defined as the action performed by a speaker with an utterance. If you say, I will be there at 6, you are not just speaking, but you seem to be performing the speech act of promising. We use the term speech act to describe actions such as the requesting comment on the questions or informing. The meaning of an utterance. There are two components to this speech act. Semantic contact, when we say what is expressed by the sentence, and the commentative act, an action, what the utterance does perform.
Okay,
And we have
yes, Firdaus, yes. Okay. Go on.
Okay, and we have two types: direct and indirect speech. The direct speech act when there is a direct relation between the syntax structure and the communication of utterance. But in indirect speech refer to an utterance in which one speech act is performing indirectly by performing another. The main reason why we use indirect speech act seems to be that action such as requesting or presented in an indirect speech act seems to be that actions more polite or general.
Yes, more
Simple.
polite.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
Thank you, Firdaus. Another student who likes to comment on speaker. Yes, your name? Yes, your name.
Benin, Lebanon.
Benin, نعم Benin.
Yes.
Yes.
Speech acts can be defined as the action performed by the speaker within the utterance. We use the term speech act to describe the actions such as requesting, commanding, questioning, informing.
Yes.
When an interrogative structure such as did you, are they, or can we is used with the function of a question, it's described as the direct speech act. For example, when we don't know something and we ask someone to provide the information, we usually produce a direct speech act, such as, can you ride a bicycle? So here we are asking about the ability. Compare the utterance with, can you pass the salt? In this second example, we are not really asking a question about someone's ability. In fact, we don't normally use the structure as a question at all. We normally use it to make a request. That is, we are using a syntactic structure associated with a function of a question. But in this case, with the function of a request, this is an example of an indirect speech act. Whenever one of the structure in the set above is used to perform the function other than one listened beside. So the utterance "you left the door open" has a declarative structure as the direct speech act would be used to make a statement. However, if you say there's someone who has just come and it's really cold outside, you would probably want the person to close the door. You are not using the imperative structure, you are using a declarative structure to make a request. It is another example of an indirect speech act.
Yes, it is a kind of indirect speech act.
Yes.
Good. Thank you, Benin. Another student? Thank you very much. Yusuf?
Yes.
Yes, Yusuf, yes.
Yes, speech acts. Speech acts can be defined as actions performed by the speaker with an utterance. And we use the term of speech act to describe the actions such as requesting or commanding, questioning, informing. For example, if you say I'll be there at 6, you are not just speaking. You seem to be performing the speech act of promising. So here we have you give him a promising that you'll be there at 6. Okay.
Yes.
And using presupposition, we use two types of speech: direct and indirect speech. For example, can you ride a bicycle? When we ask about the ability. So if you have an ability to ride the bicycle, here we have indirect speech.
Yes.
Yes. Of someone we produce a direct speech act. Another example of indirect speech act when we say something and we meant another thing. For example, can you pass the salt, please? In fact, we don't ask about the someone ability. In fact, we don't normally use its structure as a question at all. We normally use it as request. So here we have a question: can you please pass the salt? So here we have a request now, in form of a question.
Yes.
Yes. We produce an indirect speech here.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much.
Most are welcome.
Thank you very much. Another student?
May I?
Yes, your name?
حورة حيدان.
نعم حورة.
Speech act. We define it can be defined as the action performed by a speaker with an utterance. We use speech act to describe an action such as requesting, commanding, questioning. So we have two types of speech acts. We have the direct and indirect speech act.
Yes.
For example, if we say, "Can you ride a bicycle?" when we ask about the ability of someone, we produce a direct speech act. When we ask about the ability of someone, we produce the direct speech. Another example, and we mean another thing. For example, can you base the self?
In fact, we don't ask about someone ability, but we don't normally use its structure as a question at all. Also, in case we reduce indirect speech act in this way.
Yes, good. Thank you very much. Welcome. Yes, another student. Another student. Who likes to
Yes.
Yes, your name.
Yes.
Your name.
محمد تقي. محمد تقي.
محمد نعم محمد تقي نعم.
Yes, speech acts. It's action performed by the speaker with utterance, and we can describe actions such as requesting, commanding, questioning, and informing. For example, can you give me this? Where are you from? Your brother has died, for example. And we have two types of it. Direct and indirect. Direct when we don't know some things and we ask someone to provide information. For example, can you ride this bicycle? Here we ask about the ability of some person.
Yes.
And we have indirect that used to perform a function others than one another listed beside it on the same line. It means we have request, but we have inside the structure of a question. For example, you left the door open. It means you close the door. And we have also can you pass the salt? Also
this is a request.
Yes. Also it means indirect object.
Yes. This is a request because you are, for example, you don't ask about the ability of the listener. Okay. So it is a question, but it is associated with the structure of with the request. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mohammed. Another student who likes to comment on speech act? Who likes to comment on speech act? Okay. So speech act. Speech acts can be defined as the actions performed by a speaker with an utterance. So, action performed by a speaker with an utterance. We use the term speech act to describe the actions such as requesting or commanding, questioning, and informing. For example, if you ask, I will be there at 6, you are not just speaking, you seem to be performing the speech act of promising. Okay? In using the speech act, we use two types of speech. نوعيتين, direct and indirect. طبعا direct is more clear than indirect speech act. For example, if you ask, can you ride a bicycle? So you ask the listener about his or her ability to ride a bicycle. So this is a direct speech act. When you ask about the ability of someone, we produced a direct speech act. Another example of indirect speech act, when we say something and we mean another thing. زين؟ نقول شيء ونعني الآخر. For example, can you pass the salt please? In fact, we don't ask about someone's ability. In fact, we don't normally use its structure as a question at all. We normally use it as a request. So in such a case, we produce an indirect speech act. Or sometimes we use a statement, but it is a command. If you ask someone to close the door, for example, you left the door open, and outside is somehow cold. So it means close the door. In spite, you use what? A statement, not a command. Okay? So when we use Indirect Speech Act, we ask something and we mean another thing. So this is what this is speech acts that are divided into two types: direct speech act and indirect speech act.
Yes, please.
Yes. Yes.
Could you give us another example about a direct speech?
The direct speech act, that is very clear. Yani. For example, you mean the same thing. For example, you ask someone about his ability, or for example, you command someone to, for example, you tell someone to close the door. You will say, close the door.
Okay.
Okay.
Means the direct, less polite, right?
Yes. Not polite. Yes, not polite. Direct is what is impolite.
Unpolite.
Yes. But indirect is more polite.
Cool.
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
direct speech act is very clear. The structure is associated with the meaning. Okay, Yusuf?
It's okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes. We go to politeness. And politeness has a relationship with the speech act. Because in politeness we use indirect speech acts. Because indirect speech acts express politeness. Okay? Yes. Polite.
Yes.
May I?
Yes, sir.
Who likes to
Yeah.
comment on politeness?
Yes.
Yes, your name?
Maya?
Your name, Smith?
Ayat Mehdi.
Yeah. No.
Ayat Mehdi.
نعم.
Politeness. Politeness can be defined as showing awareness, and consideration of another person's face. We can think of politeness in general terms as having to do with ideas like being touchful, modest, and nice to other people. In the study of linguistic politeness, the most relevant concept is face. Your face is pragmatic, and pragmatic is your public self-image. This is emotional and social scene of self that everyone has and expects everyone else to recognize. If you, for example, if you say something that represents a threat to another person's self-image, that is called a face-threatening act.
Yes.
For example, if you use a direct speech act to get someone to do something, give me that paper, you are behaving as if you have more social power than the other person. If you don't actually have the social power, you are not a military officer or a prison warden, then you are performing a face-threatening act.
Yes.
Indirect speech and indirect speech acts in the form associated with the question, could you, for example, could you pass me that paper, remove the assumption of social power.
نعم.
This make your request less threatening to other person's face. Whenever you say something that less the possible threat to another face, it can be described as a face saving act.
نعم. Okay, thank
Yes.
you, Ayat Mehdi. Thank
Yes,
you.
may I?
Yes, your name?
اسمها ناظم.
نعم, اسمها ناظم. نعم.
Politeness can be defined as showing awareness and consideration of another person's face.
Yes.
If we say something that represents a threat to another person's self-image, that's called face-threatening act.
Yes.
For example, if we use a direct speech act to get someone to do something, like give me that paper, you are behaving if you have more social power than the other person. If you don't actually have that social power, that means you don't
military officer or prison warden, then you are performing a face threatening act.
Yes.
An indirect speech act in the form of associated with the questions. Could you pass me that paper? This question is remove the assumptions of social power. You are only asking if it's possible. This makes your request less threatening to the other person's face. Whenever you say something that lessens the possible threat to another face, it can be described as a face-saving act.
Very good. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Manaf. Another student who likes to comment on politeness.
Yes, may I?
Yes, your name. Your name Benin? مو؟
Yes, yes.
Benin لبنان مو Benin?
Yes.
Yes, Benin.
In pragmatics, we have the word face. It means your public self-image.
Yes.
That is the emotional and social sense of
Yes.
self that everyone has and expects everyone else recognize.
To recognize.
So, politeness can be defined as showing awareness and consideration of another person's face.
Good.
Sorry. If you say something that represents a threat to another person's self-image, that is called a face-threatening act. For example, if you use a direct speech act to get someone to do something like
Yes.
give me that paper, you are behaving as if you have more social power than the other person.
Now.
You don't actually have that social power. For example, you are not a military officer or a prison warden.
Yes.
Then you are performing a face-threatening act.
Yes.
An indirect speech act in the form associated with a question, could you pass me the paper, removes the assumption of a social power. You are not only asking if it's possible. This makes your request less threatening to the another person's face. Whenever you say something that lessens the possible threat to another person's face, it can be described as a face-saving act.
Yes. Face saving act. Good.
Yes.
Thank you, Benin. Another student who likes to comment.
Yes, sir, can I?
Yes, your name.
Hello, Hamid.
حوراء حميد. نعم حوراء حميد.
Politeness can be defined as showing awareness on and consideration of another person's face. If you say something that represents a threat to another person, this is called a face-threatening act. For example,
Yes, it means what? It means that person is more powerful than the other.
yes,
Yes.
and we called it a face-threatening act.
Yes.
For example, if you use a direct speech act to get someone to do something, give me that paper, you are
Yes.
behaving as if you have more social power than the other person. But we
Yeah.
have indirect speech act, we called it face-saving act, in the form associated with a question. Could you pass me that paper? Remove the assumption of social power.
No.
This makes your request less threatening to the other person's face.
Good. Thank you. And so we produce a face saving act.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Good. Thank you. Another student who like to comment on politeness. مين يحب يعلق عن politeness؟
Yes.
Yes, يوسف.
Yes.
نعم يوسف.
Politeness can be defined as a showing awareness and consideration of another person's face. If you say something that presents a threat to another person's self-image, that is called a face threatening act. For example, we have at this time and most of or many houses, when fathers request or not say something or want something from his child, probably he say in a threatening way. For example, give me a glass of water.
Nah.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. Or another example, we have if you use a direct speech act to get someone to do something. For example, give me that paper. You are behaving as if you have more social power than the other person. As I comment on father and most of houses today. If you don't actually have the social power, for example, you aren't a military officer or a person warned, then you are performing a face treating act.
Nah.
An indirect speech act in the form associated with a question. Could you pass me that paper?
Yes.
Remove the assumption of a social power.
Nah.
You are only asking if it's possible. This makes your request less threatening
Nah.
to the other person face.
Yes.
Whenever you say something that less the possible threat to get to another space, it can be described as a face-saving act.
Good. Thank you, Yusuf.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. Another student who likes to comment on politeness? Who likes
Yes.
Yes, your name?
Muhammad.
Muhammad, نعم.
Yes.
Yes.
Politeness means showing awareness or consideration of another person's face. And if you say something that represents a threat to another person's self-image, that's called face-threatening acts. Indirect speech, for example, when you say to some person, "Give me this paper,"
Yes.
or once say this, once some person that has social power than the other person. If you don't actually have that social power, for example, you are military officer or prison warden, it means head of prison. And we have another connotation that's we can call it face saving acts. This you can define it making your request less threatening to the other person's face. Whenever you say something that lessen that possible threat to another face, this what can describe it as face saving act.
Very good, Muhammad. Thank you. So why do we need the word face in politeness? This is also an important question.
The word.
Yes. Why do we need? Why do we use the word face in politeness?
Face.
Yes, face. يعني face in the pragmatics. What does it mean?
Phrase or pace?
لا, face.
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 Yes, may I?
Yes,
Yes,
may I?
yes. Yusuf.
Yes. To express the feeling or the the opinion or anything by using the body language, I think so.
ممتاز. Very good. Thank you,
Yeah.
Yusuf. Yes, your name, yes?
Me? Firdaus Haider. I Firdaus Haider.
Firdaus, نعم.
Yes, I think to show the react to the of the person.
ممتاز. نعم. يعني it is like Yusuf has said now, it is a body language. اوكي يعني تعبير it is a gesture إيحاء. Okay, so your face in pragmatics is your public self-image. This is the emotional and social sense of the self that everyone has and express everyone else to recognize. Okay, so politeness can be defined as showing of awareness, consideration of another person's space. Okay, if we say something that represents a threat, تهديد, to another person's self-image, that is called face threatening act. It means that person who gives a threat to another person, it means that person has a more social powerful. For example, he is a manager, for example, he is a boss, for example, of the workers. So he has a social powerful over others. So he can represent a self-threatening act. يعني عنده انه مكان اجتماعي او سلطة على الآخرين. فد مركز اجتماعي. Okay, so he can represent a face-threatening act. Like for example, if you ask someone to give me that paper, for example, close the door, open the TV, etc. We use a direct speech act. So in when you, for example, when you give a face-threatening act, you use direct speech act. Okay, it means that you have social power than the other person. Okay, you produce a face-threatening act. But if one uses indirect speech act, okay, such as could you pass me the salt, so it is more polite than give me the salt. One will remove the social power. It means that there is no social power between the speaker and the listener. In such a case, one produces a face-saving act. So it is connected with the social power between the speaker and the listener. العلاقة هي تكون بين المتكلم والمستمع من خلال شنو؟ العلاقة الاجتماعية. إذا كان هو أكثر من عنده زين، فبهيج حالة راح ينتج عندنا face threatening act, or they are the same, we have face saving act. Direct speech, it means what? Face threatening act. Indirect speech means face saving act. Okay? Is it clear, student?
Yes, could you repeat the last expression?
Yusuf, if we have the same social power, okay, for example, if two persons from the same social range, okay, so they use face saving act.
Okay.
لأنهم من المستوى اجتماعي واحد.
Yes.
But if we have one person that is more, for example, the one person has social power than the other, like for example, manager and the official.
Direct speech.
Yes, he will use direct speech act. So he will produce a face threatening act. It depends on the social power between what? Between the people. Okay?
Okay.
Yes. So this is what this is politeness. We have two terms, a face threatening act and face saving act. It depends on the social power okay, between the speaker and the listener. If one has social power than the other, he will produce a face-threatening act. Or they are the same and from the same social range, for example, you will produce face-saving acts. Okay, students. عندنا مصطلح آخر موجود بالبولايتنس هو negative and positive face. Okay. Yes, your name. هاني هنا ما موجود عندي بالهذا. اسماء. نعم اسماء.
Negative phase is the need to be independent and free from imposition, and it's not mean bad. And positive phase
يعني يعني الطلاب من تسمع negative it is not sorry it doesn't mean bad. Yes. Yes, اسماء.
Positive phase is the need to be connected, to belong, and to be a member of a group. So, a face-saving act that emphasizes a person's negative face will show concern about imposition. For example, when we say, "I'm sorry to bother you, I know you are busy," but a face-saving act that so this is a negative face.
Yes.
A face-saving act that emphasizes a person's positive face will show solidarity and draw attention to a common goal. For example, when we say, "Let's do this together, you and I have the same problem." So this is the positive face.
نعم. Thank you, أسماء ناظر. Thank you. Another student? What is meant by negative and positive face? طلاب.
Yes, may I?
نعم, your name? And Benin, لو?
Yes, Benin.
نعم, Benin. إيه, Benin.
Negative and positive face. We have both these terms, but the word negative does not mean a bad. Here it's simply the opposite of the positive. Negative phase is the need to be independent and free from imposition. Positive phase is the need to be connected and belong, to be a member of the group. So, a face-saving act that emphasizes a person's negative face will show concern about imposition. "I'm sorry to bother you. I know you are busy," but extra, a face-saving act that emphasizes a person's positive face will show a solidarity and draw attention to a common goal.
نعم.
Yes.
طلاب, what is Benin? What is meant by solidarity? Solidarity.
I think it's related to a military job like this.
Yes.
لا solidarity it means تكافؤ. نعم, تضامن بين الناس.
Okay, between
تضامن.
groups.
نعم, تضامن بين الناس. اللحمة بين المجتمع.
Okay.
نعم. Okay, كملي بني.
So let's do this together. You and I have the same problems. These examples refers to this term solidarity. Ideas about the appropriate language to mark politeness differ substantially from one culture to the next. If you have grown up in a culture that has directness as a valid way of showing solidarity, and you use Direct Speech Act, "Give me the chair," to people whose culture is more oriented to indirectness and avoiding direct imposition, then you will be considered impolite. You in turn may think of the others as a vague and unsure of whether they really want something or are just asking about it. Are you using this chair? In either case, it is the pragmatics that it is misunderstood, and unfortunately more will be communicated than is said.
Good.
Understanding how successful communication works is actually a process of interpreting not just what the speakers say, but what they intend to mean. We will explore other aspects of this process in the next chapter, inshallah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Another student? Another student? Would like to comment on negative and positive face?
Yes.
Yes, Mohammed?
Yes. Negative face means is need to be independent and free from imposition. Means when somebody need to become alone. And positive face is need to be connected to belong to the members of groups or saving ups act that emphasizes a person's negative face will show concern about imposition. For example, I am sorry to bother you. I don't know you are busy. Facing
Yes.
facing saving act that emphasizes a person's positive face will show solidarity and draw attention to common goal. For example, let's do this together. And I have the same problem. Just like
Yes,
this.
good. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Another student who likes to comment on face, negative and positive face.
Yes.
Yusuf?
Yes.
Yusuf, yes.
Yes.
نعم يوسف.
Negative face is the need
Yes.
need to be independent and free from imposition. And positive face is the need to be connected to belong, to be a member of a group. So a face saving act that emphasize a person's negative face will show a concern about imposition. For example, I'm sorry to bother you. I know you are busy, but a face a face saving act that emphasize a person positive face will show solidarity and draw attention to a common goal. For example, let's do this together. You and I have the same problem, so this is the positive face.
نعم.
Yes, that's it.
Thank you, Yusuf. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. Yes. Students, concerning negative and positive face. Negative face doesn't mean bad. Negative face doesn't mean bad. It means what? It means that a member belongs to what? To a whole member. He needs to be one of what? Of the group. So, sorry. Negative face, it means what? It means is the need to be independent and free from imposition. اوكي انه هو شنو independent مستقل عن المجتمع. This is negative face. It doesn't mean bad. مو معناتها bad. But it is the opposite of the positive face. هو العكس للpositive face. Positive face is the need to be connected, to belong to a member of the group. انه يكون واحد من المجتمع. هاي الفرق بيناتهم. نيجاتيف فيس انه هو يكون اندبندنت مستقل، والبوزيتيف فيس it means what? One of the group. Okay? So a face saving act that emphasizes a person's negative face will show concern about imposition. For example, I am sorry to bother you. Okay, I know you are busy, etc. إلى آخره. So this is negative. A face-saving act that emphasizes person's positive face will show solidarity. Solidarity, it means, for example, people are together in the same group. انه الناس يعني اللحمة بين الناس. زين الترابط بين الناس. And draw attention to a common goal. زين وانه يكونون متحدين في عمل واحد. Like for example, let us do this together. انه نعمل هذا الشيء سوية. You and I have the same problem. شوفوا هنا المثال هنا يختلف عن المثال السابق. المثال السابق انه انت busy ومشغول وانه ما لك علاقة بي. اما المثال الثاني ف let us do this together and you and I have the same problem. So this is positive face. Okay, so positive face means what? To me means a member. So it means that when the need to be connected to belong, to be a member of the group. While negative face is the need to be independent and free from imposition. Okay, so this is the negative and positive face. واضح يا طلاب النيجاتيف والبوزيتيف فيس؟
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
يس. هنا عندنا يعني هذا اخر شيء عندنا باليونتين براغماتكس. عندنا الاسئله، نشوف الاسئله. اوكي، طلاب تمارين الفصل العاشر. اوكي، on page 137. What kinds of dialectic expressions are used in this utterance?
Yes.
May I?
May I?
Your name? يوسف؟
Yes, Yusuf means.
نعم يوسف. نعم.
Okay. Question 1.
Yes.
I'm busy now, so you can't say stay here. come back later. We have now and later.
Yes.
Temporal deixes.
Yes.
We have you and I.
Yes.
Person deixes.
Yes.
We have here and come back. Special deixes.
نعم. Good. Good.
Yes. Question 2.
نعم. Thank you, Yusuf. Thank you very much.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, may I?
Yes. أنت شو اسمك؟ Yes.
اسمع ناظم.
اسماء. نعم. اسماء. نعم.
Number 2, what are the anaphoric expressions in this sentence?
نعم.
Dr. Foster gave Andy some medicine after this is the anaphoric expression.
Yes.
Told her it's also anaphoric expression.
Yes.
About his headache, and she, anaphoric expression,
Yes.
advise him anaphora,
Yes.
to take the pills anaphora to the medicine 3
Good.
times a day until the pain, anaphora for the headache,
Very good.
went away.
ممتاز. نعم. ممتاز. ممتاز.
اسمع.
أسماء. العفو. أسماء. ممتاز. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Yes. Another student?
Yes, may I?
Yes.
Yes. Your name شو اسمك؟ شو اسمك؟
فردوس حيدر.
فردوس. نعم. فردوس.
Yes. Number 3, what kind of inference is involved in interpreting each of these utterances? A.
Yes.
Teacher, you can borrow my Shakespeare. Here he means the teacher has got a book of Shakespeare.
Good. Shakespeare. You can't borrow my Shakespeare. Shakespeare
Yes.
means what?
Book of Shakespeare.
Book of Shakespeare. نعم.
B.
لا نشوف. يس. يلا. اوكي. نعم.
Waiter, the ham sandwich left without paying. He means someone eat a ham sandwich and not pay.
نعم. نعم. Thank you.
Yes,
فردوس.
may I?
فردوس وقبلها.
Yes.
نعم.
حيدر.
فردوس. نعم. Thank you. فردوس. اللي
Yes,
بعد
may I?
ايش اسمك؟ لبنان. بنين.
بنين. نعم.
نعم. بنين. نعم.
The letter C. Nurse, the Helena in room 5 wants to talk to the doctor. So here we have the inference Helena. It's the name of a disease. Refers to the person who has this disease.
Very good. نعم. It means the patient. المريض.
Yes, the patient.
Very good. نعم. Dentist.
Dentist, my 11:30 cancelled, so I had an early lunch.
Yes.
So here's the time used to refers to another things.
Very good. My 11:30 council. It means meeting, for example.
Meeting, no, I
Yes.
did.
Very good. Yes. Thank you, Benin, Lebanon.
Welcome.
نعم. We have another student who.
Yeah.
Yes. Your
Yeah.
name. ايش اسمك؟
Yeah. حوراء حميد.
اسماء لو شنو؟
حوراء حميد.
حوراء حميد. نعم. حوراء.
Yes. Question 4. What is one of us a presupposition of a speaker who says?
Yes.
Number 1. Your clock isn't working. Here the presupposition he means he has a clock.
ممتاز. It means he has a clock.
Yes.
This is constancy under negation.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes. Yes.
يوسف.
Second one.
Yes. Me. محمد ثقل.
عفوا محمد. نعم. محمد.
Yes. Where did he find the money? It means he has the money.
Very good. Where did he find the money? It means, for example, has a money. نعم.
Another one.
Another one, Muhammad.
We regret buying the car. It means
Yes.
this person has car now.
ممتاز. يعني معناته هو يملك سيارة.
Yes.
Thank you, Muhammad. Another student.
May I?
Yes, your name.
آلاء.
عراق.
آلاء.
آلاء شنو؟
آلاء علي.
آلاء علي. نعم.
The king of France, it's a proposition that there is a king of France.
نعم.
Question 5. Someone stands between you and the TV set you are watching, so you decide to say one of the following. Identity which would be
Identify,
direct
which would
or
be direct.
indirect.
Yes.
A. Move direct. Could you
Okay,
please
thank
sit
you. لا thank you. شوف غيرك. لا. Yes, your name?
حوراء حيدر.
حوراء حيدر. نعم حوراء حيدر.
A. Move direct. C. Could you please sit down? Indirect. B. You are in the way. Direct. D. Please get out of the way. Direct. Question
Okay.
6.
Okay, thank you حوراء, thank you. Okay. Yes, thank you. Question number 6. In these examples, is the speaker appealing to positive or negative face? Who like?
Yes.
Yes, your name?
حوراء حميد.
نعم حوراء حميد.
Yes. In these examples, is the speaker appealing into positive or negative face? Number 1, if you are free, there is going to be a party at yours place on Saturday. This is negative.
This is negative.
Yes.
Negative face up.
Yes. And
Yes.
the second one, let's go to the party at yours place on Saturday. Everyone's invited.
Everyone is invited.
Invited. Yes,
نعم.
positive.
ممتاز. And then A it means independent of the group, and B it means solidarity. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. حوراء حميد مو?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you حوراء حميد. طلاب, now we end chapter 10. Okay. In the next lecture we will take chapter 11, discourse analysis. Okay. We take